Happy Ramadan to all my beautiful Muslims out there. If you are seeing me for the first time, it is Educational Talent Show, the one and only TV program that brings you the most amazing intellectual Gambians from all disciplines of learning. This program comes to you live on Fine TV Gambia, your only viewpoint, on every Sunday 4 p.m. leading. With me today is our own very youth activist and author, and as well as a youth leader. Please join me welcome Mentor Boy. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Fatma. Greetings to the beautiful listeners. I'm Ibrahim Boy, as you said earlier. The only call me Mentor Boy. So it's a pleasure, to be with you here today.
Okay. As we delve more into the program, we will realize and we'll talk about more of the challenges we face in life. Okay. So before we delve into that, I will ask, what do you love most about being a Gambian?
Well, maybe the peaceful coexistence. Maybe despite everything, you can understand that our daily operations and the way we interact, the type of relationships that we share is so beautiful as a Gambian. I think that is one thing that I'm so much stick to. Yeah, I love that.
Good. I think it's fair enough. We are always peaceful.
Yeah, sure.
How did the name Mentor Boy came about?
Well, I cannot remember actually, but I think it came from my student back then in 2015 when I was teaching at SDA, or 2016 when I was at ABC. In fact, they used to call me Precious Mentor, but I felt at some point Precious was kind of girlish. So when I started writing, actually, then was when I used Mentor Boy. Actually, so it's a name that was given to me by my students. A lot of them used to call me Precious Mentor, because what I do is when I go to class, most of the time I took some minutes, in order to advise them, to guide them. So some of them, because I always take that particular time in order to discuss with them about life and things, they started calling me a Precious Mentor. So later on, I decided to drop the Precious, and then I go along with Mentor, and then I add my surname Boy. So my actual name is Ibrahim, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you are a very fascinating somebody. I've always followed your poetry and your write-ups. For the fact that you don't even give that to yourself, they just look at you. It means they see something very genuine and very awesome about you. That's why.
Yeah, but if you also look at mentor, the synonymous meaning is mentor means a teacher, a counselor. So, and that's my profession. I'm a teacher.
Amazing.
So yeah, so definitely it's just something that tallies with what I do.
Okay. Yeah. How did you discover your talent?
I think I was never a bad writer, even back then in school. But I think my story is kind of different from a lot of young writers or writers in this country that would say I started writing when I was in upper basic or primary. No. The truth is, people started knowing me as a writer when I was at the university in 2019. Okay. Yes, so I used to write, but I don't used to publish, because I used to be that person that was so scared of being criticized. And then I am the person that is so concerned about presenting substance. Let me give you a little bit of history. When I started university, I got admission as a development studies major. But after my first year, I decided to change, because I think that was the time I was developing so much feeling for writing. So I decided to change my major to English language. Do you know why? Because I wanted to have an in-depth knowledge. I wanted to have a thorough understanding of the area that I'm going to write, because I want to make sure that whenever I write and publish, I'm even going to be respected for that. So wanting to know what I am passionate about is the reason why I changed my major from development studies to English language. Yeah, so I started discovering being a good writer. I used to be with friends chatting, the way I play with words and other things. A lot of them will tell me, you can be a very good writer, start writing. But I was like, no, this country you write, people are going to criticize, they are going to say, oh, B. I can remember the first piece I wrote was I Am a Mentor. That's the first piece. Up to now, I think that there's nobody that see that piece. I've never published that. But when I wrote that piece, then the second piece I wrote was My Treasure. When I wrote that, I showed it to some of my friends. They were like, hey, that's good, that's fine. Then I started writing. I think people started to see my pieces when I wrote this poem. I forgot the title. I think something about the Gambia. Yeah, so I decided to share it in one of our platforms, and then that is where they took it from and said far and wide in other pages, especially the UDG pages. That was how I started to be like, okay, now it's about time for me to take this opportunity in order to do more. Yeah. So that is how the whole thing started. It's not like I started way at primary level or no. Yeah, that is my story.
Through your explanation, it came to me that you have.
When I was going to school, I was not a weak English language student, though. And if you're a good English language student, that means definitely you must be able to have a test for writing.
Yeah, but you are still into writing. You are still writing.
Yeah, I do write.
Do you think, like, you have been into it for so long, do you think writing in the Gambia can make somebody successful at all in the Gambia?
Well, I think a lot of things are into this art, this beautiful art of writing. Yeah, for me, I always keep telling people if you want to be a good writer, you must have a foundation, you know. Now, one of the reasons that makes somebody successful, being a successful writer in this country, is for you to be able to write substance, is for you to be able to write things that is going to be consumed by the society, properly consumed. And I think the foundation of that is to learn, like I said earlier, is to get to know what you do so the people are going to respect you for that. Yes, of course, one can definitely in this country as a writer, but that boils down to the roots. Like, how well do you understand what I'm saying? I keep telling friends, in advanced composition, we were taught that writing is a process and not a product. And in order for us to understand this, we are going to forge ahead. But once as a writer, you do not understand the writing is a process, it has to pass through stages to be edited and to be looked at. Then we are going to have a problem. But to be honest, if what well, I think you are knocking the wrong door. Yes, if they say that some people are writing because they want to gain fame, I may not categorically say that is wrong. But however, what I am saying is people that publish book, people like me, you'll be surprised to know that I've been planning to publish my book for the past 3 years. I was never serious with it. Friends had to compel me, do this, Khalifa Jabi and all of you, like, bring your work, let's look at this. I was never concerned about that. So if they say others are publishing because they want to gain fame, I may not dispute that. But I say myself and many others that I know are definitely writing and publishing, not because, but they want to enlighten the society. Do you understand one thing? The main thing why people write is one thing, that is to enlighten the public. That is to talk about things that are concerning to the population and to the country. Because as a writer, you must add your voice to the way the nation and the world works. So definitely writing in order to share information is definitely not an act of going for fame, but it's definitely an act of sharing a message and trying to enlighten the society that you are. That's how I see it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Tell us about UTG's most prolific writer, because I learned that you once won that amazing award. Should I say it?
Yes. I think that was my best year as a writer. Best year in the sense that I was the most consistent writer in UTG that year. Yes, we had a lot of fine writers during that, a lot of great writers there. But I think that year, the number of pieces that I published, I don't think there was any other student at UTG that did that. I think now, not only because of my writing skills that year, but because of my consistency also that year was the reason. So that is how I won this. You know, out of nowhere, I was just called and told, well, you know, we are going to have a handing over ceremony, something like that. So you are the most prolific student writer in our. I never knew about those things, to be honest. And even when I was writing, I never knew in UTG there is something that is like that, to be honest. So it was the very day that I knew about it, and then I went and yeah, that's it. And I think, you know, there are people that appreciated that because they have seen what I've done, especially that year. Yeah.
I mean, they say hard work pays off. You've been doing so many things, so definitely they were looking at you on the ground. So,
Yeah.
Congratulations for the award.
Thank you so much.
How many poems have you written so far?
I think obviously the only thing I can say is 51 poems in this book. I've written more. Yeah, I think when I sent my first draft to when I said with Khalifa Jabi, Mohamed White Dab about my work, you know, for me, I am that guy that always wants to present substance. So I think I presented more than this. I presented about 80 something poems, but we were able to trim it down to 50 something because the interest was not the number. The interest was the substance that we are going to present to the audience. So 51 is what I officially can tell people that I write, but I even have more than this. Now, I don't only do writing. I do spoken word. There are a lot of poems that I wrote that are in local languages and that I do not even publish. In this book, there are poems that are of local language, but they are not much. Okay. I have more. So officially, I've written 51 poems officially, but then I have a lot more poems that I do not even publish. Amazing. To be honest, yeah.
Amazing. I usually hear people say this social person cannot even differentiate between spoken word poet or slam poetry. I'm not so good in poetry areas, but I usually hear people say those are things. They cannot even differentiate such things, and they call themselves poets. Do you think such comments are necessary at all?
Oh, well, I hope they will not even come for me. You see, there is one thing that you know that we need to understand. A lot of people are writing because they are passionate about writing. Some of us are writing. We are not only passionate about writing. We went to the universities to study what writing is about. I think that's a big difference. We have an in-depth knowledge, not thoroughly, but we at least have a good knowledge of what is expected of us as a writer. All right. So one thing that we have to understand is this: if you want to write, you must be able to read. All right. And now, there is one thing that I observe in this country is a lot of writers are so ordinary. I don't know if you know what I mean by so ordinary. Now, let me give an example about poetry. Before I talk about the difference between, let me give an example of poetry. You will go to a program and a spoken word poet or artist will come on stage and be like, hello people, I am an African, I live in Africa. You see, there is a saying in literature, we say, literature makes the familiar unfamiliar. Okay. We also say in poetry, your language should be in a coded language. You know, when you have a mobile phone, when you want to use it has a code, you must know the code in order to access the programs. That is the exact thing in literature. Literature, especially in poetry, there should be a code for anything that you say or write. When people want to know their own code, how do they encode it? They analyze, try to interpret, to know what actually the message you bury in that work. And that is fading away. And again, the difference between a spoken word artist and a poet is one thing. The poet give more relevance to the literary devices than a spoken word artist. Yes, you can listen to a spoken word artist, they will say things that you don't even need a microscope to see or to know what they are saying. But when a poet writes, you need to interpret and analyze because they give more relevance to the literary devices in literature than even. Also, we have to understand that one thing, in as much as you are going more of grammar in what you are saying, you are more of a spoken word artist. But if you are going more of literature in what you write, remember literature and English language, there's a line that differentiates them. People should know that there's a line. Okay. Yeah, and then it's important. Like I said, it's still boiling down to what I was saying. If you make more research, you will understand a spoken word artist has a little bit difference with the poet. The poet only writes probably, and the spoken word artist speaks. But also the poet also gives more relevance to the literary device than the spoken word artist. Let me just give an example. Go and look at Khalifa Jabi's piece on one thing, right? And then you listen to a Gambian spoken word artist. You come and tell me who among them are you going to understand easier? Is the spoken word artist. Because maybe they use word plays and other things. They are literary devices, but I'm not saying they don't. They do, but not as compared to the actual poet. That is the difference we have.
But again, would you rather tell those type of people who don't probably know what exactly they are doing?
Yes. Let me add to that. Let me add to that. Yes. You see, also there is the difference between criticize and critic. C-R-I-T-I-Q-U-E, critic. In English language or in literature, we accept what? We accept critics. Critic is the act in which you look into somebody's work in order to understand what are the loopholes in that work and you try to identify and mention them. In this country, in as much as we are not ready for our works to be critiqued, we have a problem. Fatma, you are a writer. You write a poem and publish. I read your piece and try to critique what you write in that piece. You want to see me as a rival or as an enemy. That is not how literature works. That is why in literature we have what we call point of view or perspective. Right? When you write, you publish, but you have no control over how I will consume what you write. That is why in literature we have what we call the writer's debt. Meaning, once you publish, you have no control over how people interpret your work, but you always have a final say of what you want to say. Now, me having a different version of what you said doesn't mean I'm attacking your personality or I don't like what you do. It only means I have a different point of view about your expression and you should respect it. As a writer, you learn from that and grow. So we critique, we do not criticize. And I think we should understand that. We do not criticize writers because we don't go personal. We critique because we focus on the content found in your literary work.
Do you think most people do more of critics than criticizing?
Well, the people
in the Gambia,
the people that I know,
was told a lot of people do more of criticizing people, like criticizing them personally than looking at the work. Probably mention out, pick out the mistakes they do and rectify them.
Yeah,
I was told, I don't want to speak on
no, you mean okay.
I was told they do more of criticizing people personally than doing a critic of the work they publish.
Again, I may not dispute that, but I'm saying those that I know that are doing critics, those that I know are not criticizing, they are critiquing people's work. Right? Now, only one thing is possible. I will critique your work, you come and say, don't critique my work. But then, at the first place, if you don't want your work to be critiqued, I don't think you should be able to publish it. Because the truth is, in as much as we want to forge ahead as a country in terms of literature and writing, we should face the naked truth. We should talk about things as they are. Yeah, there are people, to be honest, the truth is, myself and many other people, there are people that are seen as good writers or poets. I do not recognize them as one. To be honest, that's the naked truth. Now, I don't have a problem if another person do not recognize him as a good writer, but based on the arena of literature. not personal. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I may say Fatma is not a good writer, but it's not going to be personal. I'm going to base, if you ask me why, my reasons are going to be based on the arena of literature. What are some of the expectations that a writer should possess? Do you possess that? Do you portray it in your writing? That is what I use, but I'm not going personal. So once I am focusing on that, I am critiquing. I'm not criticizing you. And I think these young poets that are coming should understand that. Let me tell you, there are some of these young poets that do not even talk to me now. Do you know why? You will send me your work for me to check. Now, let me also add this to this. In literature, especially in poetry, you don't edit people's work. You edit, maybe you check their grammar and everything. But when you write your poem and send me, I'm not going to edit. Do you know why? If I edit your poem, I am going to edit it the way I think it should be. Now, when that is published or be spoken, you are the one that writes, but the idea behind or the voice is me. Now, let me give you an example. You write a poem about rape. You share the poem with me. Right? Then I will edit the poem the way I think I should be communicating about rape. When that is published, you are the writer, but the voice in the poem is definitely mine because I'm the very one that change it and shape it into the way that I feel it should be relayed. You are a writer. I am a writer. You have a way of relaying your information. I have a way. I can look at the grammar aspect and say, yeah, I just this or that, but to change the content of your work, that is not accepted in literature. I think those that understand literature will definitely be a witness with me. Yeah, so that is it. Now, these people, when you send me your work and say, look at my work for me, the first thing I would say is, you want me to be honest? If you say yes, I will tell you, go back and write again. We should be able to differentiate a poem and a story. We should be able to differentiate a poem and a prose. There are things that we are seeing everywhere in this country. Definitely, they are polluting the literature arena. They are not poets or they are not poems. That's the truth. It's very hard to say the people who say mental is controversial, but then that's the thing.
It's the bitter truth.
Yeah.
What inspired you into writing?
Yeah, I think what inspires me, you see, Momodu Sabal is somebody that, when it comes to writing, yeah, I look up to him a lot. I think the first person that I read his anthology in this country is Momodu Sabal. When I came across the book, when I read it, I was like, yeah, I think it's about time for me to also do this because I believe I could do that. Yeah, so that is one thing. And then, understanding that what I want to add my voice to the way things work. So I was much more interested in taking part in national issues. Taking part in national issues is not only by politics. There are different ways of intervening into national issues. So I am passionate about taking part in national issues, and I believe writing is the fastest and the easiest way for me to be able to intervene and make my voice heard. And so far, my voice has been heard. I've been talking about things. At least one or two people are inspired by what I do positively.
That means you write about politics?
Well, poetry or writing, the intention of writing is to effect change. The intention of writing is to advocate for change. All right? So whatsoever that I think when I thought about will effect change. All right. If you look at this poem, The Batin Exchange, the title of the book, the first poem is about Pan-Africanism, talking about the changes that Africa will one day move away from this brown land to a green land. Yeah, so politics, not directly. Yeah, there are poems that I talked about things because talking about the way the country works, you are talking about politics technically. Because the politicians are the people that contribute to a lot how this nation works. So when you write to criticize the system that is put in place by the politician, you are directly or indirectly talking about politics. Yeah. So you don't have to go out and insult politicians or praise them, but you just have to go out and be honest. You don't have to be emotional. You don't have to be sentimental. You don't have to be partisan, because I'm not part of any political party. But then things that I see in this country that I think as a writer I can add my voice to, definitely I will take my pen and add my voice to that.
That means you're saying as a writer, it would rather be a neutral somebody on political stuff and criticize anything that has to do with it, that has to cause a negative impact in our society. But not necessarily supporting a particular somebody and writing about the probably positive things they do, or it could be the negative things they do.
I think the best thing as a writer is you are able to criticize justly when you are not part of any group. Like if I'm in the same political party with you, will I write to criticize that party? I may not be just because I'm part of somewhere. But when you are standing there apart, you are able to look at everything. You are able to write justly, just like I said. And then, as a writer, also there are things that you have to be considered. That your integrity matters. Now, if they know that mentor is part of so political party, and then he writes a poem or he writes an essay to criticize the other party. They will not see my points as in I am trying to transmit an information. They will see it as he's just an opposition from the other side attacking us. So instead of seeing the message you are relaying, they will see your position. That is why as a writer, when you are not part of anywhere, you stand a better ground and your integrity as a writer is going to be maintained because they'll be like, oh yeah, that must be based on facts or his opinions because he does not part of A or B or C. That is it. So yeah, I've even had spoken word poets of a poet recording a whole poem praising a political party. I was like, really, this is a pollution to our environment, to the literature arena. You know, to me, that's my point. I feel that was
be neutral.
Yeah.
Not take part in any political.
No. The only time I take part in politics is at UTG, at the University of the Gambia when I was there. Definitely, I was a politician. But national politics, I've never posted a single flyer of a national politician since the day I know myself to date on my status or any media platform. I've never put on a side of any politician before. So I'm not.
Okay. Because I think that's very, very important because different people from different political parties love what you do and they are following you. Immediately they start seeing you supporting somebody they are not into, they kind of move back away from you. So I think that's fair, you know. Yes. What is the biggest lesson you learn in life in terms of pursuing what you want to become, what you want to be?
Persistence. That is be strong enough, be bold. I think development does not happen in your comfort zone. Yeah, I tend to believe that later in life that when you want to grow, you have to leave your comfort zone. You have to be uncomfortable in order to reach the height of growth. Yeah, so I think being willing to go through difficult times is one of the things that one must learn to be. So my greatest lesson in life is overcoming challenges. That there are times that things came to my table. Yeah, I thought that was going to be the end of this journey. But immediately you fight back in order to pass or to trip over the challenge. That is the time you look back and know the meaningful of life. Yeah, I think.
Plan for yourself.
Yeah, sure.
What makes a good poet?
Oh, well, this is an opinion. Anyway, it is backed by some evidence because I've read a little bit about literature, right? Even if you know what makes a good poet. One of the things is a good poet must be able to read. You must read as far as you can. If you now the person that reads better writes better than you. Let nobody fool you about that. The person that reads more writes better. So the more you read, the better you write. Now, what makes a good poet is a good reader. You must be a good reader in order to be a good poet. That is our problem in this country. Most people want to be writers, but how many of us wants to be readers? How many of these Gambian writers will you meet and they will tell you the number of books they finished in the past 2 months? And yet, those are the very people that are going to the internet and be writing, talking about our national issue on daily basis, using literature, and they don't read. That is bad. Also, I think not only as a writer, but as a human being, you should be willing to learn. Like I said earlier, writing is a process to the product. Whensoever you write, I don't believe in that. You see, the likes of me when I write, I don't just write and publish. I have people that I say on my works to look at this, check, adjust it. What do you think is the problem? Now, they may not directly adjust it, but they will tell me, they will read and tell me, this is what I think. Let me know what is their perspective. Then from there, you adjust from that. That is how you grow as a writer. That is also another thing. Yeah, and also as a writer, you have to be original. I think originality is quickly fading away in this writing arena in this country. And then we should understand also.
Why do you think people are not original anymore?
Yeah, it's the copies. Even though, I've once saw an argument on Facebook where there was a guy that said somebody was copying his writings. That was not the actual case. People saw it that way. I said, we have different type of writers. We have the diver writers, we have the grand plan writers, we have the architect writers, and then we have the patch writers. Patch writer is the type of writer that will collect lines from different type of writers, combine them and form a whole. That is called a patch writer. Now, when I pick a line from you, from her, 10 of you, and then those lines, I do not directly copy and paste them, but I was able to make something out of them. I am a patch writer. That is not plagiarism. And people should understand this. But people do not understand all these things. That when you are a diver writer, these are people that write on plan. I think we have that. You just walk by the street, you see an incident, you decided to start a writer. You didn't plan it. We have the grand plan writers and so forth, right? All these things are there. Now, as a writer, you must be able to know the type of writers we have and where do you want to align yourself more. Not only, but more. The same thing for poetry. If you are to be a poet, do you know who is a metaphysical poet? What are the qualities of a metaphysical poet? Do you know who is a romantic poet? Do you know who is what? Who is part of the other type of poet, the Persian type of poetry? Why? A lot of writers don't know this. And people like us, you try to bring that, they will not see you as somebody trying to educate. They will see you as somebody controversial. You are envious, and then you are not doing the right thing. That's the problem we have.
Okay. Has anyone looked at you and in the past and told you, stop doing poetry? It's just a waste of time because you are not good at it. You told me that the reason why you didn't publish books or you didn't pursue writing is because you were scared of being criticized.
Yes.
Eventually, you came out and you began to show us what you can do. Do you still receive criticisms?
That's obvious. And then you'll be surprised to know that this comes from my own voice. You don't understand. Your own friends that study English language or your own friends that you work with on a daily basis, you write and publish, they will come to your day. They will criticize you. You don't take it personal. You grow. When they criticize you, some of the points you defend, some of them you accept. And so that if you accept, you grow. By the time you write again, you'll be a better writer. That is what happened. There are all my critics are my guys that they don't even take it light with you. You write Mohamed Waidabo, Khalifa Jabe, or Moulamin Saro, Mohamed Kamar, they will say, well, boy, I think that was way too wrong. I think this could have been done this. I think this is my idea. But that's how we grow as a writer. And then in our meet, we are able to normalize that. That is how you grow as a writer, like I told you. So yeah, it's definitely. Now people tell me stop writing, stop poetry. I don't know, you will not make money out of it whatsoever. That's not my profession. Now, if the fame and the money comes along, that I am going after my passion, not after those things.
Not after fame, not after money.
Yeah, to be honest.
What are some of the challenges you face
as
a writer?
The challenges that I face, audience.
You lack audience.
Yeah, even I'm doing spoken word, or I was doing spoken word, but even sometimes there are people that will come to tell me I cannot follow most of your spoken word because I don't know the word that you are speaking. Okay. Yeah, they will tell me this, and then there's a saying
that's very discouraging because it's very, very important we go into our local language.
Yeah, but if they don't know it, and then there's a saying we say if you speak to somebody in a language that they understand, that goes to their head.
Sure.
But if you speak to somebody in their own language, that goes to their heart.
Sure.
Yeah. So the challenge is the audience. 2 is the support. I published my spoken word album July 2nd, 2022 at Jama Hall. I did that. But that is the time you come face to face with difficulty, with challenges. The hall, I could not have funds for people to support. Technically, 95% of that event was sponsored by myself and my friends. You write to ministries or associations, you go there, they will tell you, well, it's a very good idea, but unfortunately, what we do is not in line with poetry. So you understand the support. It's one of the biggest challenges. And all these young writers and poets are going through that. You want to launch your book, you want to stage an event, you write to institutions, they will tell you, we do not support such things. Not knowing that writing, this country cannot prosper if writing is left behind. It cannot prosper if literature is left behind. But then that's the problem. That's the biggest challenge. Support. And I think you should have an experience of that. Yeah, you go to institutions, they may support any other project, but you talk about writing or poetry album or launching a book, you have a problem. Or another challenge is that they don't know you. In this country, it is difficult to start, but it is more difficult to start in this country. I don't know if you know what I'm saying. People in this country, they only start to support you when they believe in you. When you are a starter, when you are a beginner, they don't believe in you, nobody comes to knock your door. They will wait until you break through. That is the time they will start to have some little faith in you. So they only support you when they know you. When they don't. My first album launch was I was a first timer. A lot of people don't know me. If I knock their office, they will look at my face. I say, I meant a boy. They say, who is this? Nobody knows. They will say, well, we don't have a project for this. But I'm sure if I were to launch another event today, there are people that will come and support. Because after that, they saw the breakthrough. And that is the time I am sure that they are willing to support.
Of course.
That's the challenge we face.
We'll all come out and we'll definitely give you the support.
Yeah.
Talking about that, do you think we are moving forward as writers compared to the previous years? Do you think writing is improving at all? Yes.
Now, I want us to put it in this force. I want us to put it in the force of writing and poetry. Now, in my view, this is my personal opinion. This is This is, this is my personal opinion. When it comes to poetry, the honest truth is I don't think we are going forward when it comes to poetry. That is my personal opinion. I can defend that. When it comes to writing, yes, we have fine writers in this country that are doing fine. Not everyone, but we have a lot of good writers. Writing in general, we are doing fine because we have people that are from this country that are inside or outside the country that are publishing books that are of standard in the world market. But poetry, especially spoken word, let me put it this way. Now that we have more poets, now that we have more spoken word artists, but it is now that the direction of poetry is taking it's taking a different direction. Right. Now, people know more about poetry now, but the true identity of poetry is fading away quickly. In fact, I would say it's the fastest genre losing its identity backwards. Genre. Now, it is not going to be easy for you or many of us watching to directly absorb and understand. But when we have a wider conversation, we understand that these are the sad realities going on. And this is what we create. These are things we talk about. People understand. There are poems. There are books that are published in this country and they are held. There are books that are published in this country and they are supported. But then, yes, if you go back to the lane of literature or poetry, you understand they are off par. But who am I to go out and say that? Nobody. You don't tell people where they put their money or who they support. But as English language students, we also have our mouths and we have an understanding of what we learn and we go out and speak. You take it personal, you are definitely not part of the literature arena. If you are part of the literature arena, you don't take it personal. You try to understand that that is just a point of view backed by knowledge. That is my thing.
Good. Amazing mentor boy. But then, do you think these points that you are talking about, don't you think probably not the support, the help they need? That's why everybody's going out there. I mean, I feel like if they have mentors and people to coach them before they will publish certain things, it will probably be very, very good. But the reason why everybody's just publishing out, don't you think maybe they lack the support they need?
Yes, well, I will take this opportunity. This is a disclaimer. I am mentor boy. That's my name, my pen name. I am not a mentor, as in somebody that goes around guiding people everywhere. You mentioned a very important topic, the issue of mentorship. I think this is a very important topic and it's a cause for concern. For me, in order for somebody to identify me as their mentor, it takes a lot to be somebody's. It takes a lot. Especially when somebody is a writer and they say they look up to you as a mentor in writing. One should be able to understand. But by the way, how many of us understood who a mentor is? You will watch somebody who lives in America who is a writer on the media. That person does not even know you. That person is your inspiration. You come out and say, is my mentor. Really? That person is your inspiration, not your mentor. Now, even if you choose me as your mentor, what should I do in order to fulfill my responsibilities? It's a big question. If I tell you the truth, I don't think there's anybody here that I am directly like, okay, this is your work, do this, stop that. Because I feel at some point, most of these young boys, they don't want to listen. And when you say more, they will leave and go to another guy, and that guy will make them believe that mentor is just too much. Come, let me work with you. All right? But mentorship, if you want to be a mentor to somebody, it definitely takes a lot. Mentorship about poetry, if I were to advise poets in this country, all these mentorship academies we have, they are definitely going to gather them, dismantle them, and start again. Do you know why? There are mentorship academies, but those mentorship academies, I'm afraid if they are taking the true lane of poetry or literature, they are not. That's the truth. They may not be happy to know this, but that's the truth. We have seen a lot of people who follow me form an academy, mentorship academy. I say, I'm too busy for that. Because the time that I will need in order to shape and guide a young person into being a very good poet, I don't have it. Right? So I don't just want to gather them in the name of, yeah, I am a leader, I am a mentor. No. Whatsoever I am to do, I want to be committed to the 100%. I cannot give one hand and take the other. And that's what I'm saying here. I have seen, spoken word poems that are published. Sometimes you even wonder if this was listened to by another person. And that is the very point you ask, they will say, Mr. So-or-so or Mrs. So-or-so is my mentor. And that passed through that guy and it was published. Now, you are not only doing harm to yourself, you are doing harm to our literary arena in this country. If that goes out of the country, people are looking low upon us as poets and writers in this country, which is definitely unjust. That's the problem we have. So it takes a lot to be somebody's mentor. And I think those that call themselves mentors to these young writers and poets should sit back and try to put their house in order, to try to tell them, I mean, you want to be somebody's mentor and you don't even have an in-depth knowledge in literature. You want to be somebody's mentor and you don't even know the different classes of poetry. You want to be somebody's mentor and you don't even know the different type of writers and writing. What are you mentoring? This is a multi-million-dollar question that a lot of mentors should answer before they forge ahead to continue to mentor any other person in this country. Thank you.
I mean, he's saying choose your mentors wisely, right?
Yeah.
How will you rate the Writers Association of the Gambia out of 10?
I don't know much about them, to be honest. Yeah, at some point.
In terms of supporting Gambian writers, I mean, you are a writer. If
they
are doing something,
from a personal experience,
you might have known.
Okay, from a personal experience, if I'm looking at it, 0% for me, because there is. In fact, the truth, I don't have any connection with the Writers Association of the Gambia. That's true. I don't have no connection with them. I don't know the executive members. I'm not in their pages. I'm not paid monthly dues. I'm not a member. And in my works, these works, they have no idea how it came from. There's nobody from there that edited my works. There's nobody from there that know about my works. So I am an independent writer. I am not part of them. However, that doesn't mean I have to discredit them. I've seen people that pass through them and they are doing fine. I've seen people that publish their books. Their books are very fine and they are from or they are members of the Gambia Writers Association. So that is a big kudos to them. I will appreciate that what they did. But then, if there's one recommendation I would do is let them extend the tentacles of their support to other people. I understand people like us, I understand they cannot go out to call people to come. But even those that are already under there, they are helping them, I'm sure, but they can still do more.
I mean, sometimes you don't necessarily have to call people. If you are doing something, even if you don't call people, people will know it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see, for people like me, I think, if I live here, a lot of people want to beat me. There was a particular page that I was added on WhatsApp. Is it called Young Writers Association?
Yes.
I was added in the page. I spent in that page, I think, less than 6 hours. I left. Because when I entered that page, right, those few hours I was there, I saw a lot of poems that were sent there by these young poets. And anytime these poems are sent in that page, people hail those poems.
Yes, that's
really. And to me, I was seeing stories shared as poems. Like you cannot share it anywhere and call it a poem. And people were hailed in those poems. Great writer, keep it up. So I felt I was in the wrong place. Because I even started criticizing. Some people started saying, "Memento, you are controversial." I left that page. Because I felt if I were to be there, people would not see me as somebody that critic. They would see me as a controversial person, as a difficult person, and as a wicked person. And I don't want to be branded because I don't have any influence against any writer in this country. But when it comes to the issue of literature, to us, let me tell you, poetry to us is a religion. Do you know religion? Something that you don't joke with, that you give utmost respect. Poetry to us is like that. That is why whensoever you try to bring things that is against it, we have to stand our ground. At the end of the day, you decide whether you dislike it or not. It's definitely going to be your decision.
I think a lot of young people have to listen to Mentor Boy because even me here, I'm always against people who are like, you cannot do this. I'm always like, no. Why are you don't tame people down?
You see,
you've been wicked.
The intention is not to tame you. The intention is to help you grow.
Yeah.
You see, whensoever you write and they criticize, use those criticisms as a way in order to be better. There are people that criticize my works. There are people that say things about my works. Do you know that? But I don't take it personal. At some point it will hurt you, but at the next minute, you understand that I'm going to take this opportunity to move on. If I tell you the first poems I published as a writer, today if I look at them, I laugh at myself. And those poems were published. There are people that come across those poems, they'll be like, this man is a fool. This is what he's writing. But you look at those poems 2 years ago, what I wrote, and today, there is a big difference. Because I am learning from those mistakes to grow as a poet. That's how you grow. What? You change from A, B. Nobody starts and gets to the best level. But now, when you are not at your best, and you don't want people to say that you are not at your best, you will not grow. When you are not at your best, accept people to say you are not at your best. Accept it. Yes, mentor, what you wrote was wrong. A, B, and C. You don't like it or not, accept it. But learn from them and be a better person. That's why I say these young writers in this country, people like me, I do not have the audacity to advise any of them, except if you ask for one. Because you go and advise them, they insult you. Not long ago, I have a case like that. Somebody on WhatsApp, a lady, sent me a message, a strange number, and said, hello, mentor boy. Guess what? I said, what? She said, I'm just from reading some of your works and listening some of your poems. You are the very one that is going around criticizing people. Do you know that you are very useless? You cannot even write. You are just a fool, and block me.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. Where I laughed. I said, okay, that is just part of it. And what I made investigation, I was told about that young girl just graduated last year. And then I was told she's a poet.
Oh.
I said, oh, okay, I understand. What I'm saying is not her cup of cake. But that's the truth. And that very young girl is a mentee to somebody. Now imagine the pollution that you are bringing into this area. That's the problem we have. Some of us, we don't like to speak all the time about poetry, because whenever we do, people will be like, wow, he's angry again.
Yes.
But that's not the truth. The truth is, to be honest, poetry is more famous in this country now, but the identity in this country now is quickly fading away. The identity of poetry is quickly fading away. That's the naked truth.
Take your time, learn about poetry before you can publish your poem, and you will enjoy it. One day, if you look at your work, you'll not be embarrassed and say, "Oh my God, am I the one who published it?"
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Among all the poems you have written, which one do you love the most? Why?
Yeah, that's a difficult question.
That means you've written so many poems that you have already fallen in love with.
Yeah, you see, poetry is the full of emotions. Whatsoever you write, for me, I am the type of writer. Whatsoever I write, I tap from my emotions. I don't write on subjects that I don't have good ideas. I write on subjects that I have a good understanding or that are directly my experience. So again, to advise to the young poets in this country, one of the best steps that you can take as a writer is when you are to write, always tap from your emotions. When you are angry, you know how you feel about your anger. You are able to write about your anger more than somebody's anger, right? So tap from your emotions. That's what I do. I think I have a lot of poems that I love so much. But I think, just to be fair enough, I have to go by one. There's a poem in this book called Sefa Jolof. It's dedicated to my dad. My dad, who is the chief of Sabah Sanjal district. Sefa Jolof. Yeah, understanding the type of background he comes from. Somebody that do not go through formal education. Somebody that come from a very humble background. And at the end of the day, as a child, I've grown and seen the challenges he's been through in a society and other things that I said or whatsoever. And still that man is able to hold upright and act justly, right? In a way that, in a society or in a place where probably a lot of people criticize, yet he is able to survive all that and win back most of those people that criticize him. That is a mark that is left in my heart that I may probably forever die with. Yeah, I've seen that man. I've been told A about that man, and I saw B about him. All right, I've went out and had A about him, came back and observed and saw B. A very consistent man, full of principles. A man that his A is A, his B is B. So I felt he was a man that served as a very powerful face to our family. Even though he's my father, but I have a big family. He's a very powerful face to our family. All right, there was an experience I had. One of the reasons why I wrote this poem is I was traveling. I was coming from the village to the Combos. When I met somebody at Bara, he asked about my name. I said, I am Ibrahim BOYE. He said, do you know Mr. BOYE, somebody chief? I said, yes. He said, that man is a great man, a man of his words. From today here, I'm going to pay your fare up to your house. And that man, he paid the fare from there, Bara, up to my house.
Amazing.
He said, because your dad is great. So when I came home, I was like, yes, Sef Bajolof. That is the chief of Sabah Sanjal district. But I wanted to be literate. I say Sef Bajolof. We have Bur Bajolof. Yeah, but he's Sef Bajolof, meaning the chief of that district where I come from. Yeah, I think that is one of the poems that when I was writing it, I was so emotional, to be honest. If you read it, you can see what the emotions I bury in those lines. Yeah.
Tell us about the Barton Exchange.
The Barton Exchange.
Everybody is talking about this book. Wherever I go, the Barton Exchange, the Barton Exchange. I was like, I need to have this book too. Tell us about it.
I can remember having this interview with Raki sometime back when I was about to launch my album.
Okay.
Yeah, the Barton Exchange is a progressive agenda. Barton Exchange talking about change of attitude, change in terms of development, change in terms of ethics, this professional lifestyle, change in terms of the treatment towards girls and women. If you look at all those things are in this poem, we talk about rape issues. We understand there are perpetrators that need to be dealt with. All right. So it's about time as a society we stand our ground to protect our women and our girls, to bring about change for them to move free. The Barton Exchange. The whole thing here. If you are watching a relay race, if the first athlete runs Now you want the race to go to the finish line. Do you stop with the batting?
No.
What do? You pass it on.
Batting, yeah.
Right? Now you pass it from first to the final batting, and then you emerge first. So it's a relay race. Life is a relay race itself. And development itself is a relay race. You walk from here to here, stop there, somebody pick from there to there. You pick over a batting. So this batting call for attitudinal change. That as Gambians, this is our attitude. It's about time we change that attitude to a better one to see development, a batting exchange. It's about time we change our education sector from A to B in order to have a quality education. It's a batting exchange. So it's this is an agenda that calls for change. And the first poem I told you, the poem, the batting exchange, talks about change. That Africa, right now, in the relay race, we are maybe third or fourth. But now, we are going to make sure this batting will be changed. We are going to make sure we will prosper from this stage and grow where we reach. That's why I say the batting must paddle home to be cuddled in the solitude of Mama Africa. The batting must paddle home. The batting is right now with the West.
Definitely.
That is the most profitable batting they are holding. But we are definitely going after them and took the batting and we run for our lives. So batting exchange is a call for development. It's a call for change. It's a call for a better society, and it's a call for attitudinal change. That is the idea of the batting exchange.
Amazing, especially our education system.
Exactly.
You're doing political economy of the Gambia, and the only thing you had is Adam Smith, John Mill. You wonder, is this about the political economy of the states or in the Gambia?
Tell them to exchange the
education
batting.
system, yeah, definitely has to change.
Exactly.
So if you don't have this book yet, please, you need to grab it because you cannot miss every single thing written in here. How much is it?
$300 is.
$300 is where can you have that? Books are now $500, $600,000. So if you're having it for $300, you need to grab a copy as soon as you can.
Yeah, and one more thing, if you have this copy, you read. Please, if you have any critic, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Please.
It's not like us, like no, don't criticize my work. It's very, very welcome with criticism, and I think that's very, very good because it molds you. It makes you the best person you can be. We are coming closer to our final. The hour is almost done. What message do you have?
Yeah, the last thing I would say is, again, I will remind people, writing is a process, not a product. The more you write, the better you grow. Right, so I want to thank you for having me here, Fatmata, and your beautiful team. I think this was a great opportunity for me to share the little thoughts I have. And to the beautiful listener out there, things that I say that are pleasing, I appreciate it, and things that I say that you do not appreciate, I apologize. The purpose is not to confront or directly attack anybody. The purpose is to enlighten, is to sensitize, and these are some of the prices that comes along with sensitization and enlightenment. So I apologize for anything that you see here that you think is misleading and you don't appreciate. I apologize, but for the good things, I appreciate. And as writers in this country, let's come together. Let's form a formidable force that will stand test of time. So on that note, I want to thank you.
Mentor Boy is a very fascinating somebody. I know him very well, and I've listened to his poems. I think they want to listen to your poems. Will you at least give us one? Please, it will be an honor.
Hope I do not forget. What should I?
Any.
I'm the woman.
Yes.
Hope I do not forget the one.
Any
poem. In the desperation of your soul, I remain your only goal. In the forest of your darkness, I be the tree that regenerate your brightness. In the scripts of your movies, I be the actress, the protagonist to your strength and the antagonist to your weakness. So stop the disrespects and the hate speeches, the discriminations and the bewitches. Turn off the marginalization switches. Recite the anthems of empowerment speeches. Decolonize the unfair foundation of my hitches and glitches. Accolade me, respect and dignity, for I am your British. Don't break me, for I am your only hope. Don't save me, for that doesn't look dope. Embrace me, for I am the globe. Sing me songs of love, let it penetrate my earlobe. I am the woman. In my presence, man can be a master, but in my absence, man is nothing but a disaster. I am the woman. I am not a tool to be used as a fool. Change the narratives and get back to the golden rule. Hope, power, belief, conquer. These are the fibers and the wools woven in me. For I am the woman. Thank you so much.
Hope, power, believe, and conquer. You see what I'm telling you? He's a great somebody. So if you have not purchased this book yet, please, you need to do it as soon as you can. It's just $300, very cheap. You cannot find that anywhere in the Gambia now. books are always 500, 600 above. Thank you so much, Mentor Boy, for coming.
Thank you so much, Famar.
Thank you so much, viewers, for watching. Until we come your way the next time, do have a beautiful days ahead.